Hey, y'all. Y'all, everybody doing okay? Y'all, we back with another reaction. Now, you know, we busy over here, right? We cover a lot of things over here, a lot of stories. Try to do updates, try to keep up with, you know, um, what's going on in these trials. Today we're gonna kind of like I'm kind of like give y'all a little update on what's going on with Brian Walsh, man who was accused and charged with murdering his wife Anna. Now I'm gonna get y'all time to get in here. Cause I don't want to, repeat myself. But go ahead on into some snacks. I hope everybody doing okay today. Now, Wash was charged with underlining his wife Anna. Okay, back in 2024. Now, I'm gonna give some of you all update of what's going on. It is appreciative if you all like and share the video. Okay. Brian Walsh was indicted, y'all, back in 2023 in a connection with the murder of his wife, Anna Walsh, who was last seen in New York. Not in New York, I apologize. And I'm saying, looking at the word. Last seen on New Year's of 2023, okay? Last seen on New Year's Day. So I'm going to repeat this, okay? Brian Walsh was indicted in 2023 in a connection with the murder of his wife, Anna, who was last seen on New Year's Day, y'all, that year of 2023. Now, the prosecutors have accused Brian of assaulting and beating his wife with the intent to murder her, as well as moving her body or remains, according to the criminal complaint. Now, he did something. Well, we're going to go over a little bit what he did, what he said. He pleaded not guilty to all the charges in 2023. But if you look at my title, it said Brian Walsh changed plea to guilty. An open statement begins on December 1st of murdering Anna. Now, y'all, he went from saying he plead not guilty, and now he wants to change his plea to guilty. So today's video is going to, the judge is going to explain to you what's going on. So this week, y'all, they had trial, and we was covering something else, okay? Tuesday this week on the 18th, the jury selection was set to begin in the trial. Walsh changed his plea to guilty. See the game? playing a little game here. He going from guilty. He going from not guilty to guilty. And the judge said she would check on it. I ain't gonna get the video away, but and he also his wife's body and misleading police, according to the court document. The document filed Tuesday said that Watts disposed of and did convey the body of Anna, that's his wife. He intentionally made false statement to members of the Cohasset Police Department and the Massachusetts State Police doing 4 interview back in January of 2023. Now, before I show y'all the video, I have to tell y'all what's going on, okay? Because I've been keeping up with trial behind the scenes. Now, Walsh is set to go to trial on first-degree murder charge, which is scheduled to start December the 1st. So we will be on that trial, okay? December the 1st. I hope nothing else get in the way. But open statement and everything. Why did he want to ask the judge that, tell the judge that he wants to plead guilty, y'all, or guilty pleas, and said that the attorney for Walsh said they were rejected by the state because the Commonwealth would not negotiate unless negotiation included the indictment charging murder. All about the money. There's no established constitutional right to plead guilty. The defense due process rights are implicated in the context. Now, what we're going to do in the context. Now, he know the trial was coming up, y'all. The trial was coming up. He knows that. He know they already done select the jury. Now all of a sudden you want to plead guilty now. So the judge gonna make that decision. So we're gonna take a look at that video. And also Walsh attorney also filed another memorandum last week requesting that his prison sentence for allegedly misleading police not succeed 4 to 7 years. In comparison, his sentences in disinterring a body does not succeed 2 to 3 years. An attorney for Walsh did not immediately respond to a request of comment. So y'all, let's take a look at the video and hear what the judge had to say about this. And after this, y'all, anything else come up, I'll be back. But I just want to give my people, I want to give my funny acting people opportunity and a chance to know what's going on, okay? And thanks for watching. Okay, let me put up the video. Okay, here we go. Oh, wait, y'all, let me turn up the music.
To those two indictments, I need to ask you some questions to make sure that
Hold on, let me start it.
guilty is made voluntarily and to understand the consequences of pleading guilty to indictments. I need to ask you some questions to make sure that your decision to plead guilty is made voluntarily and that you understand the consequences of pleading guilty to those two offenses. If at any time during the course of this colloquy you don't understand something that I am saying to you, just let me know by letting your attorneys know. Let them consult with you. And equally, if I don't understand something that you're saying to me, I'll ask for that further clarification. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Can you please state your full name, sir?
Brian Walsh.
All right. And Mr. Welsh, do you have any difficulty speaking or understanding English?
I do not, Your Honor.
How old are you, sir?
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Sure. I'll try to get into this microphone. How old are you?
50.
And what's your exact date of birth?
January 31st, 1975.
Where were you?
Same day my son, Lord have mercy.
Switch to a spoon.
Hold on, y'all. Hold on for a second. Hold on, y'all.
Attorneys know. Let them consult with you. And equally, if I don't understand something that you're saying to me, I'll ask for that further clarification. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Can you please state your full name, sir?
Brian Walsh.
All right. And Mr. Welsh, do you have any difficulty speaking or understanding English?
I do not, Your Honor.
How old are you, sir?
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Sure. I'll try to get into this microphone. How old are you?
50.
And what's your exact date of birth?
January 31st, 1975.
Where were you born, sir?
Boston.
Are you married?
Yes.
Do you have any children?
Yes.
And what are their ages?
9, 6, and next month, Brian will be 5.
How far did you go in school?
College, some college.
It was like a year and a half or 2 years.
Yes.
And where did you go to school?
Carnegie Mellon.
What did you study?
Business computer science.
As an adult, have you had full-time employment?
I've had my own businesses.
And in what kind of businesses?
Mostly consulting.
questions, I'm going to ask you those questions now. Have you ever in the past been treated for any mental illnesses or conditions?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Depression.
And are you aware of whether anything else other than depression? And are you presently aware of whether you have any mental illnesses or conditions, to include depression?
No.
Are you taking any medications?
No.
In the last 24 hours, have you taken any drugs, legal or illegal?
No.
In the last 24 hours, have you consumed any alcohol or alcoholic beverages?
No.
Is your mind clear here today?
Yes.
Tell me in your own words, sir, why are you here?
I'm here to plead guilty.
On those 2 counts?
Yes.
And you understand that your trial's starting today
Yes.
on the first indictment? All right. To defense counsel, have you had any difficulty communicating with your client?
No, Your Honor.
And do you believe that he has understood the advice that you've provided to him?
Same.
So at this time, I'm going to go over what's called the waiver of rights. And at the end of it, I'm going to give you the form back that I believe you signed earlier today. Do you understand, sir, that by pleading guilty that you're giving up your right to have a public, fair, and impartial trial as to each of the 2 indictments to which you're now pleading guilty, with or without a jury, to determine your guilt or innocence?
I do, Your Honor.
Do you understand that if you went to trial, you wouldn't have to prove anything? For example, you never have to take the stand to testify. You would never have to call any witnesses. No jury could ever hold it against you if you did not present any evidence at all. Instead, it is the Commonwealth that has the burden to prove you are guilty of each of the offenses and each element of those offenses beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you understand that?
I understand, yes.
You have the right to be tried by a jury of 12 people selected from your community, and you would have the right to participate in jury selection. You could not be found guilty unless the Commonwealth convinces all 12 jurors that you are guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, and they unanimously agree you are guilty. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
You also have the right to be tried by a judge instead of a jury. And again, the judge couldn't find you guilty unless the Commonwealth presented evidence sufficient to convince the judge beyond a reasonable doubt that you are guilty of the charge. Do you understand?
Yes.
Do you understand that if you went to trial, you would have the right to confront your accusers and any other witnesses that may testify against you by facing them and having your attorneys ask questions of them?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that if you went to trial, you would have the right to call your own witnesses, present your own evidence, and if you wished, even testify on your own behalf? Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty here today, you're giving up your right to pursue any arguments or motions that your attorneys may have made or filed on your behalf in this case, and that may include motions to dismiss and motions to suppress, as well as your right to appeal any rulings or decisions that the court may have already made in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
And are you willing to give up each of those rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
Trip, I was sitting at his grave and I said out loud, I need a sign from.
Sir, had the court officer pass to you defendant's waiver of rights? Have you seen that form before?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you read that document or have someone read it to you?
Yes, Your Honor. I read it.
Have you reviewed it with your attorneys? Understand it? Do you understand what that form sets forth in writing, what you and I have just been discussing a moment ago, in terms of your willingness to waive your constitutional and statutory rights and plead guilty to the two indictments?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that your signature at the end of the document?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you sign that voluntarily?
Yes, Your Honor, I signed voluntarily.
Signing that form, you're confirming to me, sir, in writing that you are aware of the rights explained on the form, that you understand them, and that you voluntarily waive them. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do you understand, sir, that you are pleading guilty to the following two indictments? Indictment 002, which charges willfully misleading a police investigation, a criminal investigation, in violation of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 268, Section 13B, and in Indictment 003, you are pleading guilty to, while not being lawfully authorized by proper authorities, willfully conveying away a human body or the remains thereof in violation of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 272, Section 71. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And have you talked to your attorneys about each of these two indictments?
Yes, Your Honor.
Has counsel explained the elements of each of those two indictments that the Commonwealth would have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand each indictment?
I'm sorry, what?
Do you understand each indictment?
Yes, Your Honor.
And to defense counsel, have you explained the elements of each of the two offenses to your client? And I ask that the assistant of the Commonwealth, whoever wishes to do it, would tell me what the maximum and minimum sentences are. And I don't believe there are any mandatory minimum sentences, but you can tell me if there are.
There are no mandatory minimum sentences, Your Honor. The maximum sentence on count 2 is 10 years unless the investigation is into a capital offense, and it is a 20-year sentencing enhancement up to 20 years. On count 3, it is up to 3 years in state prison.
Thank you. Mr. Walsh, did you hear the maximum possible sentences for the charges that the Commonwealth just recited?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you understand those maximum potential offense charges?
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that I have the authority to impose consecutive sentences on indictments, meaning, for example, that the sentence on the second indictment would begin only after you completed your sentence on the first indictment?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that if I impose a period of probation, you will be subject to the terms and conditions imposed, including not committing any other crimes and reporting to your probation officer?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you should later be found in violation of any of the terms or conditions of your probation, a judge could sentence you up to the maximum penalty allowable by law for any of the charges on which you have been found in violation of probation, and would be required to sentence you to any mandatory minimum penalty required by the law.
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand what I just explained?
Yes.
Pleading guilty has certain implications for you, and I'm going to go over those implications with you now. First is DNA testing. By pleading guilty to these two indictments, you will be required by law to submit a sample of your blood, hair, and or saliva, and that sample will become part of the Massachusetts DNA database. You will be required to pay for the cost of collecting, preparing, and processing that sample unless you are determined to be indigent, and failure to comply with this law will subject you to separate criminal penalties. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you still willing to plead guilty?
Yes, Your Honor.
I know earlier in the colloquy this morning you told me that you were born in Boston, and I have no reason to doubt that. But the law mandates that I give you warnings with regard to immigration consequences, and I'm going to give you those immigration consequences now. If you are not a citizen of the United States, you are hereby advised that my acceptance of your guilty plea may have the consequence of deportation, exclusion from admission to the United States, and denial of your naturalization request, all pursuant to the federal laws. Further, if the offense to which you are pleading guilty is under federal law, one that presumptively mandates removal from the United States, and federal officials seek your removal, it's practically inevitable conviction will result in deportation, exclusion from admission to the United States, and or denial of your naturalization request, again, under those federal laws. Do you understand what I just said?
Yes.
Has your attorney advised you of these consequences if you are not a citizen of the United States?
Yes, Your Honor.
And understanding that, do you still wish to plead guilty?
Yes, Your Honor.
Because the sentence for count number 2 could be a state prison sentence of 3 or more years, I'm now going to give you what's called the habitual offender law warning, which I'm required to give you. Here it is. If at some time in the future you are convicted or plead guilty to a third or subsequent offense that is within the category of offenses covered by the statute, then 1. You may be imprisoned in state prison for the maximum term provided by law for such third or subsequent offense. 2. Your sentence could not be reduced or suspended. And 3. You may be ineligible for probation, parole, work release, or furlough, or to receive any deduction in the sentence for good conduct. Do you understand what I just said?
Yes, Your Honor.
And understanding what I've advised you with regard to these sentencing consequences, are you still willing to plead guilty to the 2 charges?
Yes, Your Honor.
Hmm.
When did it start? Something changed.
All right. I'm now going to ask the Assistant District Attorney to summarize the evidence that would have been presented against you by the Commonwealth if you went to trial in this case. I want to ask, sir, that you listen carefully, because when the ADA is finished, I'm going to ask you some questions about the facts that the ADA has stated.
Your Honor. Your Honor, regarding count 002, misleading police in violation of Mass General Law, Section 13B. On or about or in between January 1st and January 8th, 2023, Mr. Walsh did willfully mislead police officers with the intent to impede, obstruct, delay, prevent, and otherwise interfere with the criminal investigation into the disappearance and murder of Anna Walsh. The defendant first misled the Cohasset police in the morning of January 4th, 2023, when after he had reported his wife, Anna Walsh, missing, he stated to a Cohasset police officer that Anna Walsh had left the Walsh residence at 516 Chief Justice Cushing Highway in Cohasset on the morning of January 1st, 2023, by taking an Uber or Lyft to Logan Airport and returning to Washington, D.C. for a work emergency. The defendant then continued to mislead police officers. When he made additional false statements about Anna Walsh being alive and voluntary in the Walsh residence, as well as when he detailed his whereabouts on January 1st, 2023, the Cohasset police continued to make false statements to the police officers from these agencies met with him, including on the evening of January 4th, on January 5th, January 7th, and January 8th. In January of 2023, the Cohasset Police Department had approximately 20 full-time police officers, including 2 detectives. The Cohasset Police devoted all available resources in an attempt to find Anna Walsh. They requested assistance from other departments and agencies. And on January 6th, the Cohasset Police Department conducted a press conference seeking help in locating Anna Walsh. As a result of the defendant's false and misleading statements, law enforcement agencies and police officers took many actions which had a heavy financial and emotional cost. These included the Cohasset Fire Department searching a swimming pool at the Walsh residence. Teams of police officers from multiple agencies and departments including K-9 teams participating in large-scale canvass of the area around the Walsh residence. During Glenwood, D.C. Metro Police attempted to locate Anna Walsh in Washington, D.C., and Massachusetts police officers, including Cohasset Police, Massachusetts State Police detectives, and other units from Massachusetts State Police traveled to Washington to search for Anna Walsh. In a result of the defense's false statements, the defendant's conduct was willful. His statements impeded, obstructed, delayed, and otherwise interfered with the criminal investigation, and the delays resulted in the contents of dumpsters in which the defendant had disposed of Anna Walsh's remains being incinerated.
Why don't you pause there? We'll deal with count one and count two, and then we'll go to count three.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So, Mr. Walsh, did you hear what the Assistant District Attorney just said with regard to the statement of the offense conduct for indictment 002, misleading police?
Your Honor, if I may, Mr. Walsh is prepared to admit to the recitation of facts with respect to the indictment that the government just read, insofar as it alleges he did impede and obstruct the criminal investigation into the disappearance of Anna Walsh. We obviously object, and he's not admitting to and murder. The second portion of the facts that the government just read that we would take issue with is the last sentence, and the delays resulted in the contents of the dumpsters into which the defendant had deposited Anna Walsh remains being incinerated. Insofar as the rest of the facts, he's prepared to admit.
All right. Mr. Walsh, you just heard what Attorney Porges said, sort of the insofar as. It's another way of saying it limited to this. And you heard what your counsel just said. Understanding those limitations as just articulated by your counsel, did you do or join others in doing those acts?
Yes.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty that you're admitting to the facts described as revised by your counsel are true?
Yes.
Are they?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh, did you in fact willfully mislead various law enforcement to include members of the Cohasset Police Department and the Massachusetts State Police with the intent to impede or interfere with a criminal investigation of Anna Walsh's disappearance?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Moving to indictment number 3.
Thank you, Your Honor. Willfully conveying and embodying violation of national laws, chapter 272, section 761. On or about in between January 1st and January 8th, 2023, the defendant Brian Walsh willfully conveyed away the body of Anna Walsh, or the remains thereof, from the Walsh residence at 516 Chief Justice Cushing Highway in Cohasset by conveying and disposing of Anna Walsh's body without a license or lawful authority, or the remains thereof, into dumpsters and or garbage receptacles in eastern Massachusetts. The defendant's actions were willful. Anna Walsh was not a stranger to the defendant. She was the defendant's wife and mother of his 3 young children. The defendant conducted internet searches into disposal of the body, researched locations of dumpsters, and then traveled to those locations. In disposing of the body of Anna Walsh, the defendant did not comply with the law.
Thank you. Sir, did you hear what the Commonwealth just alleged it would prove the case went to trial with regard to indictment number 3?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you do those things or join others in doing those acts?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty to today, you are admitting the facts described just now by ADA conduct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Walsh, did you in fact willfully remove a body authorized to do so?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Do you now plead guilty to these indictments willingly and voluntarily?
Yes, Your Honor.
Has anyone threatened you or forced you in any way to plead guilty to these two indictments?
No, Your Honor.
Has anyone promised you anything in return for your plea of guilty to these two indictments other than the terms of the plea agreement that we discussed? Excuse me, there's no plea agreement. That's what happens when you keep reading from the book. You shouldn't. Has anyone promised you anything in return for your plea of guilty to these two indictments?
No, Your Honor.
Have you had enough time to discuss your rights, your case, your defenses, and the possible consequences of your guilty plea with your attorney?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you feel that Attorney Tipton and Attorney Borges have acted in your best interest, that he and she have fully, fairly, and adequately represented you in this case?
Yes.
Are you confused in any way by any of the questions I've asked you today?
No, Your Honor.
As I understand it then, sir, you're pleading guilty to these two indictments because you wish to plead guilty because you are guilty. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Counsel, do you know, defense counsel first, do you know any reason why I should not accept your client's guilty plea? Same question to the Commonwealth.
Your Honor, I'll agree, but we had spoken, this is a non-negotiated plea with the Commonwealth. We had some objections to it. But my concern was where the defendant equivocates on a factual basis. The Commonwealth read in that is one reason we should not take it. The second is this count 3 revolves around improper disposal of Ms. Walshe'S remains. And the defendant, when asked his marriage status, said he was married. And consequently, Your Honor, that is not an accurate relaying of his current status to the court. It could be invalidated. So I think he has to be asked that question again. And I believe that if he continues to say he's married, that he's negating that account.
All right, I'll give defense counsel an opportunity to speak with your client.
Your Honor, I apologize. I couldn't exactly hear what Mr. Connor's caveat was.
In response to one of the early questions I asked of the defendant, I asked him if he was married, and he said yes, he was. And the Commonwealth was raising the point that if that were true, that it might negate proof of the disinterment, which requires a human body or remains. Do you want to speak to your client about that?
A moment, Your Honor. Respectfully, I don't see this as a relevant or material issue. If the court wants clarification, I'm happy to approach sidebar.
Why don't we do that?
Wow. Y'all, he changed his not guilty. He wants to change, well, he would like to change his not guilty to guilty. And that means that now they got to go through, the prosecutor has, I don't know how they're going to do that because I'm not this good with the law. But I don't know if that's a good idea for him to change it to I think he don't want to take the stand. Allegedly don't want to get on the stand, but I think it's a lot that the prosecutor, man, it's a lot more work for the prosecutors now. I guess I'm not good with the law, like I said. Allegedly. But that's strange how he went from not guilty to guilty. I ain't never seen nobody do that. Usually people say, I'm not guilty. I'm not guilty. And some people say they guilty. But I wonder why he went through the process of the guilt, not guiltiness. Now he wants to do guilty. I'm going to look that up. Because I'm not good with it. Child thing. This is gonna be interesting. This case right here is gonna be very interesting due to the fact that he wasn't truthful to the police when they asked about the body. It's weird. I don't know, y'all. What y'all think? Golly, I just don't understand is what make him want to change his mind?
So, Mr. Walsh,
Oh, it come a commercial.
I asked you whether you were married, and you answered yes, you were married. You remember that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And is it correct that you were married to Anna Walsh for a period of time?
Yes, Your Honor.
And that under the law, death extinguishes marriage. It may not religiously or otherwise, spiritually, but under the law, when someone dies, or when someone is dead, you can no longer be married to them. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And so are you married today?
Your Honor, if I may, insofar as previous discussions for purpose a successful plea colloquy and meeting the elements of the crime, believe he is not married today.
All right, you heard what your lawyer just said? Anything else that we need to cover?
No, Your Honor.
To the extent that the Commonwealth is objecting to the taking the plea on other grounds, that is overruled. My job here is to make sure that I have a valid plea, and that means that the defendant is pleading guilty to the elements that the Commonwealth would have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. And I have inquired sufficiently to assure myself that he has admitted to each of the elements of the two offenses of indictment 02 and 03. So I know we discussed at an earlier point the issue of victim notification, and I'll ask on the record now for the Commonwealth. So the Commonwealth advised the victims of this case of the defendant's offer to change his plea to guilt.
Yes, we have notified the victims, Your Honor.
And based on our prior discussions, I understand that the victims may wish to address this court prior to any sentencing of the defendant.
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right. And both parties that we've talked about this have agreed that we're not going to be sentencing the defendant today on the indictments that he's now pleading guilty to, correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Attorney Tipton, or just... All right. We'll give the victims a reasonable opportunity to address the court before sentencing, of course.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You understand, Mr. Walsh, that at the time that we do get to sentencing, that by law, I'm not bound to any recommendation that's made by the prosecution or your lawyers. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And that I may impose any sentence permitted by law up to the maximum allowable sentence.
Yes, Your Honor.
Having considered Mr. Walsh's criminal history, the government's proffered evidence, I will later consider the victim's statements to the court for matters for sentencing. I find that Mr. Walsh has met the requirements to tender a plea to counts 2 and to counts 3. I make the following findings. I find that the defendant is not presently under the influence of drugs or alcohol, and that he is reported that he's not presently suffering from any mental illness or condition, and that he's not presently taking any medications. I find that the defendant understands the nature of the charges and the consequences of his pleading guilty. I find that the defendant's change of plea to guilty with respect to each of the two indictments, 02 and 03, is made knowingly, willingly, intelligently, and voluntarily, and with the full knowledge of its consequences. I find that the defendant's change of plea on these two indictments to guilty is made upon and with the advice of competent counsel, and I find there's a factual basis in the evidence as been summarized by the prosecution and limited by defense counsel on behalf of the defendant for each of the two indictments to which the defendant now pleads guilty. Accordingly, I accept Mr. Walsh's plea of guilty as to indictments 002 and 003.
All right, then. She accepted, y'all.
Anything else that counsel that we need to do on the change of plea?
No, Your Honor.
All right.
All right.
So it ain't nothing else can be said. I can't wait till this trial, y'all. Okay, y'all. She changed his plea, so he got his wish. What that means, I don't know. I'm not good with the law. I'm not good with the law at all. I don't know if they're good. I don't know if it's bad. Y'all, thanks for watching. I will be covering this case. I am so anxious to find out. I still got confused, you know. I'm still confused. So I'm gonna read up on some more. I'm gonna research a couple things to make me understand what just happened and how will it affect the case. Anyway, all right, y'all. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back later on. I don't know today Friday. I'm out, y'all. Y'all know how I am. You know how I do. I keep working all day, all night. I'm out, y'all.